offer curbside pickups Monday through Friday at both the main branch as well as the Woods branch. We added in-person express browsing in mid-August. This allows you to come into the main library building Monday through Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. and Tuesday and Thursday evenings from 5 to 7 p.m. And you can select your own items. Of course, as always, our staff is available to help you. The Woods branch has not yet reopened due to construction projects. You can always get the most up-to-date information on our website, which is fairfieldpubliclibrary.org. We continue to offer many virtual programs like this one through Zoom. There is a wide variety of offerings for all ages, newborn to 105. Please visit the events calendar on our website for the most current offerings. Also, be sure to check out the digital resources, which are, of course, available to you 24/7 at fairfieldpubliclibrary.org. At the end of this presentation this evening, I do have a very special announcement about an upcoming What's Cooking event. So be sure to stay tuned until the very end when Chef Karen has finished with us. Our chef tonight is Karen Huber of Gruel Britannia in Fairfield. Karen was raised in London and grew up in a family where good food was very important. She has spent a good deal of time in Europe, especially in Italy, and she has a passion for Northern Italian cuisine. Yum. She loves every aspect of food, from finding the freshest ingredients to cooking, and most importantly, eating it. Karen loves the fact that she was never, quote, trained to be a chef. She has had amazing jobs in the culinary field, including at the Metrotech Center in Brooklyn, the Williams Club on East 39th Street, as a personal chef for singer-songwriter and our Connecticut neighbor, Michael Bolton, and the Fairfield County Hunt Club in Westport. She has also worked as chef for the New York Times Executive Dining Room, where you can just imagine the interesting people she was cooking for. And today, Chef Karen has her own restaurant here in our town, Fairfield. We are very appreciative of her time and efforts to bring this program to our patrons this evening. I hope you have your ingredients ready. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to Chef Karen, where she will be teaching us how to make the very popular Sticky Toffee Pudding. If you do have questions, please enter them in the chat box and we will try to get to as many of them as possible. Karen.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited about this. This is my first Zoom experience. So let's just hope it works out, okay? First thing, everyone, I'm assuming, has got their kit, all right? Have you all turned your ovens on? You have to preheat your oven to 350. If you have a convection oven, that's fine, 350, or a regular oven, but just make sure it's preheated. That is the first important step. Next, you have to make sure you have all the ingredients, but it is always important to read the recipe through before you start cooking. Now, I know there are a few typos on this because I was kind of copying and pasting and doing whatever, because I make this sticky toffee pudding so many different ways, in a large sort of pan, individual, in bars. So how we're doing it today is an individual portion, all right? So let's get started. We have the box, we have the kit, and in the kit, we have the butter, right, which I hope you have out room temperature because you're gonna, mix this up with your sugar. We have the eggs. We have some vanilla extract. We have baking soda. Okay. And then we have the flour, the sugar mix, and we have dates. Now, let's just quickly talk about dates. There are two basic types of dates, and one is a medjool date, which you will find, you can get them at Trader Joe's, get them, what, you know, anyone, every place has them, but they always have pits in them. They would be my preference because they're a sticky, more caramel-like date. Or you can get a regular, you go to BJ's or wherever you go, and you just, it says pitted, dried pitted dates. These are Knorr dates. They're equally good. I think they're a little, they're not as rich and sweet in flavor, but they have no pit, so it makes it a lot easier to chop. But having said that, in your little bag, we chopped all the dates for you to make it a little simpler, all right? So the first thing we're going to do, you're going to get a cup of water in a saucepan, and you're going to just dump your dates, which are chopped dates, into that saucepan, all right? Of course, they are sticky little things, but whatever, we'll make it work. All right, and then I'm just going to mash them up a little bit, mush them around, and we're going to put them on a stove, and we're going to cook them for about 5 minutes, just to make them a little softer. My oven here that I'm using, I do have regular, this is an Arga stove, which is an English stove. And basically it has 4 ovens, it has 2 burners. There are no thermostats on it. They're just a hot oven, a baking oven, and a simmering oven, and a warming oven. So don't get confused. I mean, it's just like a regular oven. You just want to get your dates in the water, put them on the stove, and bring them to the boil and simmer them for 5 minutes. All right? So that is the first step. Now, we're then going to, while that's working, we're going to get the butter, which should be nice and soft. When you do any type of baking, and I'm not a baker. I mean, actually, baking is way too scientific for me. I don't have the patience for it. You know, I like things that are very simple. This is why I'm doing this, because it's incredibly simple. And when you know how simple it is, you will say, my God, why would I ever buy it? It's so easy to make. So anyway, we're going to get the butter in your KitchenAid or with your hand whisk, and then you're going to put your sugar. Now, if you look at the recipe, the sugar, it says golden superfine sugar. Well, that's in English. That would be, what would you call it in this country? Is it bar sugar? It's a finer grind than a regular sugar. So what I did was I used sugar in the raw, and I just mixed it up in the food processor for a few minutes. And I also added a little soft brown sugar and white sugar to make it the actual weight of 6 ounces. If you used all soft brown sugar, that's fine as well. I mean, there's no real science to this, but you do need to have some type of brown sugar. If it's white, it's not going to work. All right, so we're going to throw this into our mixer. I can hear my dates bubbling away ferociously. That's going very well. So we're going to just leave them there for a minute. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn this on. It's going to obviously make a bit of a noise. And this is my, by the way, this is my 32-year-old KitchenAid that still works. That's when they made things properly. Okay. So if you can hear me, we're just going to mix this up so it's totally fluffy. This is why it's important to have room temperature butter. The same thing with eggs, important to always have room temperature. Give it a minute. Okay, that's going to kind of be okay. Now, I'm going to give this another minute for the dates. So you just want them to absorb some of the water to become a little plumper. That is the dog in the background, obviously. We're going to add the vanilla to your butter and sugar mix. Give it another little whisk. Then we're going to add our 2 eggs. Doesn't get any simpler. Okay. You want to kind of scrape this down so you're not missing any, you know, bits of the butter and sugar. You want it all to be incorporated. Okay. Have you got any questions at this moment? Or we're all good?
I don't see any in the chat box, but if anybody has a question, feel free to shout it out.
That's good. All right, so I'm going to just whisk this a little longer. Now, so this is bubbling, this is bubbled away. This is the trick. The baking soda. You pour the baking soda, stir it around, and the whole thing will completely fluff up, looks like a volcano. Okay? That's all you need to do, and let it sit there for a minute. Now, I'm looking back at my egg mix. It looks like it's looking good, nice and soft and incorporated. So,
Erin, there's a question about eggs and why they need to be at room temperature.
Well, because I always was brought up to believe if you have cold eggs and you add them to the butter, you'll sometimes, and the sugar, you sometimes see that curdling effect. Have you ever done that when you mix eggs with butter? If you have everything room temperature, it all sort of emulsifies instead of having the cold egg and you get these little fatty clumps. So everything at baking, well, having said that, that's not true. If you're doing pastry, you want cold butter. But for any kind of cake, cookie, you really want everything room temperature. It just makes it much easier to work with.
Makes sense. Another question is, how long do you boil the dates before adding the baking soda?
About 4 to 5 minutes, that's it. So, and they're just sitting here, they look nothing, I don't know if you can see the dates, but I mean, it's just sitting there in that water. I'm gonna let it cool for a minute. So while this is happening, we're going to get our little cups. Now, the beauty of this, you could make them, I make them at the restaurant this size, but I also, like if you go to Home Goods, they've got those little mini bundt cake things. No, what are they? Angel food cake or bundt cakes. They're the best size for this. They make a larger dessert and they've got the little hole in the middle. So when you put the sauce and the ice cream, it all sort of blends together. That's the best place to buy any like little baking bits and pieces as far as the shape of molds and things. It's the least expensive place with the best variety. These are just basic standard Reynolds, I don't know what they call them, muffin cups, I don't know, but these are fantastic. They really are. So what we're going to do now, get your pan. This is called, in the restaurant business, a quarter pan. You have a sheet pan, a half sheet pan, and this is a quarter pan. You're far better off going to Globe Equipment and buying this kind of stuff than going to Williams-Sonoma. Much less money, and they will last you a lifetime, if not more. So this will make exactly 8 of these desserts in this size mold. If you were buying the, what do I call them, the bundt individual pans, it would probably make 5 or 6. All right, next thing, just spray some, if you don't have pan coating, you could put butter in here. You might even just be able to use nothing if you don't have anything, because you can actually probably just pull these apart. But I always use, and I should have maybe mentioned this, I always use some kind of spray coating. Any
so
questions?
you have two comments, Karen. One is that they love the volcano effect.
Yes.
And then the other one is a question about, did you add the flour yet?
No, I have not. That is the next step. So I've got my pans ready. I'm just going to give this one more, as I always say, beating it into submission. Here we go. And this looks, you see this, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to show you. This is why, you look at this mix. There are no clumps in that. That is completely, I don't know if you can see it, but there are no clumps. It's all nice and smooth. Of course, I've probably got professional bakers watching this saying she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Are the dates supposed to turn black?
Well, no, they look actually pretty horrible. I mean, they look like it's grey and murky. It's not a pretty looking sight. I mean, it's very unappealing, okay? But don't panic. This is how they're meant to look. So now the next thing, we're going to basically, we're going to incorporate the flour, but we're going to do this by hand because this you do not want to overmix. Now, let me just talk about this. This, I actually use self-raising flour. If you don't have self-raising flour, you can use plain, regular, all-purpose, unbleached flour. And then it says in the recipe that you would add 2 teaspoons of baking powder if you did not have self-raising flour. All right. Then it also says half a teaspoon of mixed spice, apple pie spice, whatever spice. Now, what is mixed spice? Mixed spice is an English spice mix. It's far more complex and assertive than, let's say, pumpkin pie spice or apple pie spice. I make it myself, and it basically has allspice, nutmeg, cloves, cardamom, ginger, cinnamon. It was something that was used, I mean, since the medieval times when they used to make mincemeat, and mincemeat was actually made with meat. And it was to disguise the taste of festering meat. It sounds gross, but we've evolved from that. Mincemeat is now a delicious thing. So if you Google mixed spice, because it's very easy to make. It's just equal parts of different spices. It's a very interesting spice to have on hand for certain things. If you are making apple pie or a fruit cake, or even like in some type of, let's say, a lamb stew or a beef stew, it just adds a certain depth. So it's all in here, the spices, the salt, the flour. And we're just gonna plop it in here. And the next thing, we just dump dates, water.
I have 2 questions, Karen.
Yes.
If not adding dates, will we need the water that is in there to make the recipe?
Yes.
And then the other one is mixed spice the same as allspice?
No, allspice is something, allspice is a component of mixed spice. Allspice is a very intense flavor. It's mainly used in Jamaican, in Caribbean cooking. It is not. If you used all allspice, that would be, I'm not saying unpleasant, but it would be a little over the top. But go Google mixed spice, and there are, Rebecca, see Google mixed spice, because there's one blog, and she does a very good job. Her recipe is very, very good. And I'll give you the name so you can just find it. It's so easy to make. So now look, all we're going to do, we're just going to mix it like this. I mean, this couldn't get any easier. No one's going to buy it now from me because they're going to know how easy it is to make. All right, so there we have it. We've mixed it up. It looks loose, very, you know, very loose. It looks very watery, but that's okay. That's what you want. And now, your best friend in the kitchen department when it comes to portion control is the old ice cream scoop. This is great for cookie batters. It's great for anything. So we're just going to, here we go, divide it into 8. This is absolutely perfect for 8 scoops. I'm going to say
that question, someone's date mix is pretty watery. Is that okay?
Yes, it should be watery. I mean, murky and watery, yes.
Oh, somebody's asking if you can teach pavlova cheese. Or pavlova.
Yeah, pavlova, absolutely. That's so easy. But the only thing about pavlovas, actually, this is a good time of year to make them. Pavlovas do not do well with humidity. So like if someone wants them in August, I really kind of avoid it because they die. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. And I could definitely show you how to make pavlovas. Yeah. So look, there we go. We have these little things. They look like little muffins. And I'm now going to pop them in the oven, 350. And I'm going to say, I'm going to give this actually about 15 minutes. I mean, it depends on your oven. You just want them to be soft and springy. All right. So let's pop them in the oven and hope for the best.
Someone is saying that their mixture is a little lumpy. Is that okay?
Yes.
Or they mix it further?
Yeah, no, it should be, no, it should be. They've added the dates. Have they added the dates? And the flour, and it looks lumpy.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Can you see?
Just lift up the ice cream scoop. Let's have a look. Throw it, drop it down. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Yep, that should work.
Okay.
Might need another few minutes to cook. We'll see, but that's the that looks like it could work.
Thanks.
There's another question about would you ever cook in a larger pan as opposed to individual ramekins?
You can do it any size you want. It will just take longer to cook. I mean, you know, you could do it in a round 8-inch cake pan. It's kind of nice. You want the kind of the domed effect, or like I said, the bundt cake effect. That just looks very, very nice. Or you do it in a tray, like the way you cook a brownie. The same thing, and then you just cut it into squares and put the sauce on the top. It's one of these things that you really can't mess it up. It's very simple.
And how long do you cook the ramekins versus the bigger container?
I'm going to say I'm going 15 minutes for this. In fact, I have to get a timer going for that. And then I would say up to another 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You just have to press it and feel it. It will rise, and you need to spring back. It's like making, if you're making a cake mix out of a packet, and it's the same kind of principle. It won't really shrink from the side that much, but it will have a bit of bounce when you test it. So now the next part, which I supplied everyone with the caramel sauce, but I can see, who is this? Mark is still putting things in the pans. That's good. Okay. Just make sure everyone is comfortable with what they're doing. Any other questions?
Are you making the sauce?
I am going to make the sauce. Now, I've supplied everyone the sauce because to give you all those, the ingredients, I mean, it's not complex, but it's something, this does involve a degree of, no, skill isn't the right word. It's just, we're going to caramelize the sugar. And if people haven't really done this before, it can be hit and miss, and it could be burnt to a crisp. So that's why I sort of gave everyone the sauce, but you're going to watch me make it, so you will know how to make it. Now, the beauty about this, well, and also the sticky toffee itself, these things freeze unbelievably well. You can make 100 of them. You know, I mean, they're just one of these things that they just, I don't know how to describe it. They're just very easy and fantastic and delicious. The caramel sauce, you can make this, and this will, whoops, last a month. So you always have it. And like if you make bread pudding, or you make, I don't know what, something even with ice cream. This is delicious if it's hot and you pour it over ice cream, like a caramel ice cream. It's fabulous. So I'm going to show you how to make this. Now,
that's great. Some people, I think, may not have gotten the sauce in their packets.
No. Are you serious?
It looks like there are a couple people that didn't, that I'm seeing.
Oh no.
Well, you're going to show us how to make it. So
yeah, that's terrible. Well, they're going to have to come to the store and get it. Okay, they'll just have to come and get it. Because I feel bad about that. Now, hang on.
You've got some great feedback too. This is very therapeutic after
Good.
sitting in front of the computer all day. Thank you.
Good. Now, to make the caramel sauce. Now, this is, you want a pan that has quite a bit of depth. You know, it's a wide pan at the bottom. You don't want sort of like a straight, narrow pan. You want something that's more flared and there's more room. And what I'm going to do, I'm adding, now I'm halving the recipe. It calls for 2 cups. I'm putting 1 cup of sugar in this pan. And I'm now going to put this on a low heat. Now, we're going to move. This is going to sit here because it has to gently caramelize on its own. But there's a fine line of caramelizing and getting burnt. Okay, so we are just going to watch this. You also need butter for this. And again, I've halved the recipe that I have said, okay, and I have 2 ounces of butter. Again, it's room temperature. And then I'm going to need 1 1/4 cups of heavy cream. And that's all I'm doing for the sauce. So let me go get the cream, hang on. Heavy cream.
There's a question also, Karen, that someone's dates may not have been chopped enough, and they're wondering if it's okay that there are large chunks in their batter.
Yes. Yes, it is fine. They shouldn't be, I mean, they're probably about the size of a fingernail, the dates. They shouldn't be like minced. Is that the size they are, or are they? Okay, 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Now, so I'm going to, Rebecca, can you move that over here so they can see the caramelization?
Thank you to the team who's photographing there.
Yes. Now, okay, I'm going to, now watch this. This is actually on a very high, this is the flat top, but this is going to be it's going to start caramelizing pretty quickly because this is very hot. And again, you want your sugar, if you can kind of if it has lumps, try and not have any lumps, because it's better if it's just completely, you know, lumpless, if that's good English, I don't know. Because this gets a little crazy when you add the butter and everything. It kind of it's like another volcano, but a very hot one. I've got the dogs running around. They want to be involved. Now, look.
They're great sous chefs.
Yeah. Can you see already some of the color? It's beginning to catch there.
Just sugar is a question. Is
just sugar, no water, just white sugar, nothing else. But you really have to keep your eye on this, and you cannot walk away from this. And if you get a phone call and walk away, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. This needs to be completely monitored the whole time. Now,
and if you freeze them, how do you approach reheating?
What, this? Or what? Or the sticky puddings?
The puddings.
Oh, you can either do them in the oven or you put them in the microwave. You can put them in the microwave with the sauce on the top. And this is the beauty of it. I mean, I actually don't even own a microwave at home. But if you put them in the microwave, the blob of the sauce on the top, put it in there for about a minute, and then you put your ice cream on, you're good. Now, I don't know, again, if you can see that this is beginning to get some little bits of amber, which is good. This is, I've burnt many a sticky toffee pudding sauce by, again, just walking away. And then it's a real mess to clean up. So those are words of wisdom there. Don't walk away.
There's a question about the toffee. When they received the toffee sauce, they were told not to refrigerate it, but it has cream in it. Is it still okay to use?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And you're going to shake it up because the cream has boiled. Okay. You're going to shake it up and you're going to heat it slowly in a microwave, or you can put it in a pan and heat it up. I use this, I don't actually ever put this in the fridge. I always keep this out at room temperature. Okay, now, I don't know, again, you can see, whoops, a bit more, but it's beginning to, and all of a sudden it's gonna take off. You're really not meant to stir it, you're meant to just let it do its own thing, but I'm always impatient. There, it's beginning to, and this is, again, you need to have a good heavy base saucepan for this. If you've got some sort of inexpensive, flimsy, you know, whatever, aluminum, I mean, I don't know, you want something that has some weight at the bottom. I mean, this is an all-clad, it doesn't have to be all-clad, but you definitely want it to have a heavy base, not, you know, I don't know the correct way of saying it, a skimpy base at the bottom, because then it will really burn and catch. And a lot of pans have little hot spots on them. They're not sort of, you know, evenly distributed. Okay, it's getting slowly, you can see.
Can the pan be cast iron?
Oh yes, that's perfect. Or a Le Creuset pot, cast, yes, that's perfect. You just, yeah. I made, what did I make? I think I made 1 gallon of this yesterday, which is quite a lot.
Wow.
All right. And anyone who didn't get their sauce, come to the store and we'll give you sauce, because I feel terrible about that. I'm going to interrogate every member of staff and find out why they didn't give you sauce. Oh dear.
Anyone who does not have the recipe in front of them, if they would private message me, I will happily email them the recipe real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I hope everyone got the recipe, because I thought one was going in every box. Now look, you can see, can you see it now? It's beginning to, Now you really shouldn't stir it, but well, I think if it's got water, you shouldn't stir it, but as this is just sugar, I think, again, I'm not a baker. And, oh, please use a whisk, better than a wooden spoon. And don't use a, you know, one of these, hang on, one of those plastic spatulas, because this will get way too hot. Now, this sauce is amazing. It's so good for so many things. I make a marmalade bread pudding, and I use this sauce, but then I put an orange brandy in it, which complements the orange marmalade with the bread pudding. Now that would be a good thing to watch to make, because that is delicious. And it's even better when I make my own marmalade in February, but that disappears very quickly. I can't make enough of it. Okay, now look, you can see it's beginning to get a caramel color. The dogs are agreeing. Yeah, and you want to kind of break down any lumps you can. Now this is the point where you have to be very careful. I wanted to go one little step further, because obviously the darker, the more intense the caramelization, the flavor is. And you want it to be nice and soft. Okay, it's getting there. Okay, now look at that, you see? I think that looks very good. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to take this off the heat. We're going to come back over here. Let's get back over here. Now watch this. Watch this. Put the butter in here and it starts bubbling up. Can you see that? And it gets very, very thick and sort of looks pretty, well, it looks very odd. It looks very oily. Keep stirring it. And then you're going to add the cream. Now this here, what's going to happen, it's going to kind of completely kind of get like this. So we're going to put it back on the stove and stir, and it will all kind of emulsify and look okay. Oh, is that my timer for the, those are the puddings. So here we go. Let me get the puddings out of the oven. Wait a second. It looks like it's not going to work, but it will again. Now, I'm going to give these puddings, they're not quite done in the middle. I'm going to give them another 2 minutes. Do you see that? The indentation, you don't want that. So let's go 3 more minutes. Now, what I should have done is probably heated up the cream, and this would have eliminated some of this problem. As I say, I'm not a baker. But this will all work, believe it or not. Hard to imagine, but it will. This is where it gets very bubbly. Now, wait a second. Let me get a knife, get this off. Now you see, this isn't perfect. When I made my gallon of it yesterday, this wasn't quite how it looked out, but you know what? We're going to make it work. I'm not going to let this sauce get the better of me. So let just boil away. But I think I've done something wrong. I think I might have put too much cream in. I think I must have I must have put maybe 2 cups of cream in instead of the 1, because it's not quite as thick as it should be. Anyway, we're going to let this cook away. We're not going to worry about it. Any questions?
The recipe says to bake for 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
But I thought we said 15 minutes.
Well, I would start at 15 because of everyone's oven being different. This definitely needed more. So this probably does need 20 minutes. So I just took it out because, you know, this oven, not having a thermostat like everyone else's oven, is a little hard to judge. So after 15 minutes, I think it needs 2, maybe to 5 minutes more. But when I pull this out, you'll see, no, I put too much cream in here. I can tell. See, I didn't even follow the recipe. Just goes to show you. But we're going to make it work. That's why I don't like baking.
Well, baking is quite a science.
And I do not have a scientific mindset. I'm just, let's throw it in and make it work, as you can tell.
There's usually a workaround with it.
Yeah.
I bet you're very familiar with workarounds.
Well, yes, you're right. And here we go. But no, you see, look, this is getting darker. This is working. All right. That's actually going to be very good. Now that I would not be defeated by caramel sauce. You see, that's the whole thing in cooking. It's smoke and mirrors. And there are, you see, so many things you can just do to make it work. And people would be none the wiser, really. Okay, that was my timer for the, this looks good. Now, what I'm going to do, this is entirely up to you. I mean, you can put, if you want, you can put rum in here, like a bit, well, once you've taken it off the heat. If you like brandy, you can put brandy in, you can put orange liqueur, or you do nothing. It's entirely up to you. A little rum gives it a little more complexity. Okay, I'm now going to go. You would not want to have this spilt on you. This is very hot. All right, so look, that's looking good. It shouldn't be quite as labor intense as this is. Again, the dogs are agreeing.
Your sous chef.
Yeah, they're saying, yeah, what are you doing? All right, I'm leaving it like this. These little bits can stay. And now I'm going to go and look at my puddings. I'm going to remove this off the heat. Let it just sit there for a minute. We're going to go and we're going to look. Now, okay, I still think another 2 minutes. So yeah, I mean, 20 minutes basically. But you can see how they're all nice. I mean, you know, they're looking nice and smooth, but it's just a little bit too much of an indentation there. All right. You could do the old toothpick thing, but it is pretty moist in there. All right. So we have.
Someone is wondering about sharing these with their kids, and they're wondering if the ones that they got have rum in them.
No.
Okay.
No, they don't. I made a point of not.
Delicious.
Yeah, that does make it. It is delicious, but no, I didn't. All right. Now, let me just put that away. Any other questions? As we have about a 3-minute sort of intermission before we are going to unmold and dress up the sticky toffee puddings. Everyone's waiting and praying.
I don't see anything in the chat box, so folks can just shout them out if they have them.
Maybe teach us how to make scones sometimes. Oh yes, now that's a great thing, scones. Oh, I had the biggest mishap, like the last 3 days. I was like going nuts because we make thousands of scones, and all of a sudden, like 5, 6 batches of scones, they just weren't right. And it was like, what is going on? And it was such a simple thing. Someone had dumped bread flour into the all-purpose flour bin.
Oh, no.
So, the flour had too much gluten and we had these lead weight scones. And I just couldn't figure it out. But something like that, you can imagine how frustrating that is. But at least we found out what the problem was. Scones are the easiest thing in the world to make. And this is less is more. If you keep, if you keep putting too much work in kneading them, you'll have horrible scones. Now, what we've got here, what should the sauce look like? The consistency of the sauce should be, well, the ones that you have are going to be probably separated, but it should be hard to pour. You want to shake them up. The containers you have the sauce in, they are not microwavable. So please put them in something else, stir them up. And it should be like a heavy pouring cream consistency. What
is the history of sticky toffee pudding?
I think it was something that basically, it was one of those boarding school desserts like Eton Mess or Sticky Toffee or Spotted Dick. That's another great recipe, which I'm now selling at the restaurant and people are buying it like crazy. It was just a very simple dessert that was easy to make, comfort food, very sort of classic old English. So what else? Oh, popovers. Yes, we could do popovers. They're really easy. Okay, can you tell how to choose a Fairfield for the restaurant? That was, how did I find that restaurant? Well, I was looking for something and for the last 5 or 6 years, and I would just wander around and I was driving past what was Safita and I saw a dumpster in the parking lot. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. Maybe this could be it. And I asked around and apparently it was going to become a vegan pizza parlor. And I thought, okay, well, I don't have a shot at this. But then my broker knew the owner, who happens to be Gino, who owns Organica and Quattro Parsi. He's my landlord. And he was prepared to give me a lease on the building. And that's how it happened. It's very spontaneous. I saw it in December of whatever year, 2 years ago. I signed the lease in January, promptly went away for a month. That was my last vacation. And we've been open for 1.5 years. A year and May, we opened in May of last year. Yeah. Now.
So lucky to have Gruel in Fairfield.
Yes.
Love
Well,
food.
I have to say something. I will say the clients, the customers that come in make it all worthwhile. They're such wonderful people. I mean, it's so uplifting. And I really feel there's a sense of community and everyone's nice, and it's just great. And I like the feel. I always wanted to have a place that you felt you were in my kitchen. It was comfortable. It was like being in a home as opposed to a restaurant. We're definitely quirky. We're not mainstream, but hey, it's whatever we're doing, it's working, which is good.
They're asking if you'd consider opening another location.
Well, yes, we have. I think obviously I live in Westport, and I mean, obviously that would be a logical place, but having the one place, our hands are pretty full. That's for sure. We are just so busy, and I would think that would be logical to have another place. Yes. So we'll see. All right, now, timer. There we go. This is it. It's now or never. Yep. Look at that. There's no kind of bouncing back. There's no big dents in it. This is perfect. You really, if they were cooked another minute or two, that would be fine. But the dates make them so moist that you can't really go wrong. This also would make a great muffin in the morning if you put some cream cheese frosting on it. You can have it as a muffin. It's very versatile. Now, so what we're doing now, let's just say you were having a dinner party and you wanted to serve the sticky toffee puddings. You could make this the morning of, the day before. okay? You can unmold them, and then you put them on something, either an oven-proof dish, and you heat them in the oven, and then heat your sauce up and do it that way. Or you can put these in the microwave with the sauce on top. Either way, it just depends, you know, what your preference is. So we're going to, well, let's just talk about while they're resting for a minute, because you don't want to just unmold them right away. We're going to pour the sauce on top and the ice cream. And I really feel awful for the people that didn't get their sauce. If you want to really doll it up to make it something really fancy, you can get some crystallized ginger. I have these little pieces here. I buy it this way. I know Trader Joe's sells ginger, which you have to cut, which is actually a bit of a pain because it's not the easiest thing, but it's very nice. Or here I've got some candied lemon zest. You could, you know, you could have some chopped dates on the top. You could have some chopped nuts on the top. It's whatever your preference is. I try to keep it as simple as possible. So now we're going to get a plate. That always helps. And we're going to hope so here we got the pudding, okay. And you can see some dates everywhere. It's very hot, steaming hot. You might want to let it sit for about 4 minutes before you serve it, 3 or 4 minutes. And then, I mean, these things are just great. We're going to get some ice cream out of the freezer. Go back to our ice cream scoop. Now. Again, as this is very hot, here we have the sauce. Okay. Oh, the dog's approved. We put this. Now, again, I've just taken this out of the oven. So it's hot, the sauce is very hot. If you let it sit for a few minutes, and then put the ice cream, because the minute you're going to put the ice cream on this is going to just, you know, totally melt. If you want to be really smart, let's say you're doing this for a dinner party and you had to do 6 of these, pre-scoop your ice cream and put it back in the freezer. Because otherwise, by the time you get to the last one, you're going to have melted ice cream and you'll sort of lose the look of the presentation. Vanilla ice cream. Well, I didn't have any vanilla ice cream, but this happens to be, this is delicious actually. It's some fancy ice cream. It's called honey and cornbread cookies. I mean, very fancy, but at least it's vanilla. And then I'm going to plop this on the top. Now, if you wanted to be really decadent, you could pour a little bit more sauce on the top. Just a suspicion of sauce. And then we're going to put like a little lemon zest on there.
Oh, wow. Yum.
Now, that's your sticky toffee pudding.
Yum.
And was it not easy?
Yes, wonderful. Karen, someone's asking if you should invert it on the plate or keep it upright.
I invert it.
Invert.
Yeah, because sometimes, now again, this depends so much on people's ovens. Because this oven that I have is radiant heat, so it's very even. But very often, if you cook in a convection oven, you might find that you have a bit more of a crown on the top of yours, okay? If you do, don't worry, because if you do that, it'll be kind of a bit lopsided. Just wait till it cools a bit and just slice it off so it will sit on your plate evenly. And that works. But I want you to look at this. I mean, this is actually, I would call this a very sort of sexy looking dessert. It's kind of decadent. It's
What should you put on top of it?
yummy.
Oh,
Now, I think I'm going to try it. I'm going to tell you if it was worth all the the effort. But you can see it's easy, right?
Karen, someone's asking why it's called pudding when it's like a muffin.
Anything, I think, you know why? I think traditionally this may have been steamed, like in the old days, and they might have used suet. As most things were in England in the 100 years ago. And pudding is also what we call desserts. You call them desserts. We call in general puddings is dessert. Now let's see. I'll tell you if it's delicious or not. I might have to lie. Let's see. Oh, that is to die for. It's delicious. Well, not literally, it is delicious. Yeah.
Someone's asking when you'll serve it in the restaurant again.
I have it every day.
They
now
want
you have to make it, you'll never buy it again from me.
no, someone wants to do a taste test between theirs and yours.
Oh, okay.
No, someone's asking about freezing them to use.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And should you take them out of the tins before freezing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is so good about this? It's that little mixed spice. There's something about that mixed spice. It just, I think if I wrote apple pie spice, I don't think that's the right thing. I think you should all take the time. Did you find that mixed spice recipe? And make your own mixed spice and just have it in the cupboard. I mean, just, you make an ounce of it. Let me find it for you. Homemade British mixed spice. It's called the Daring Gourmet. That is the, I don't know if you can see it there. The Daring Gourmet. And it basically has the recipe. It's very simple. It's just mixing a bunch of ingredients together. But it makes a difference. It really does. So, anything else? Yum, delicious. Okay. Well, look at that. I think that was pretty painless.
People are enjoying eating it. Yum, delicious.
No, really. I mean,
thank you. I'll definitely make it again. Gruel Britannia.
Karen, this is just wonderful. Just a reminder to everybody that we will be emailing you the link so that you can see this. The video was recorded this evening. Karen was nice enough to let us do that. So those of you who did not have the recipe or had other questions or weren't able to keep up, don't worry. You have another way of making this happen for yourselves for the holidays.
Come into the store. I'm happy to give you another sort of, verbal tutorial, give you your sauce, whatever, any pointers if something went very wrong. We will make it work, okay?
That is so wonderful. We cannot thank you enough, Karen, for all of this. According to my count, I think it looked like there were 56 different groups attending this evening. So that's just wonderful and just what we needed in our town right now.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me to do this. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, I want to let all of our foodies know that we will be continuing the What's Cooking series. We've heard you. We know you like this. And we are super, super excited to announce that our next What's Cooking event will be a conversation with Chef Jacques Pepin.
Oh my goodness.
On Monday, December 14th at 6:30 p.m. Chef Pepin is, of course, a world-renowned as a chef, a host of his revered and popular cooking programs on public television. He was a longtime friend of Julia Child, and their PBS series, Julia and Jacques Cooking at Home, won an Emmy. We will be discussing Chef Pepin's 5-ingredient holiday meals, as well as his newest cookbook, Jacques Pepin, Quick and Simple. Here it is. There will be copies of it available for sale at the Fairfield University bookstore. So feel free to stop in there and check that out. He will be addressing how to prepare a memorable yet smaller holiday event during these times. Another special feature for that evening is going to be that the moderator for December 14th will be local chef and restaurant owner Matt Storch. You may recognize Matt's name. He won Chopped on the Food Network and owns Match and Match Burger Lobster. So we really, really, really appreciate your community, this community, and everybody sharing their cooking stories, and we look to continue it. So thank you, everyone. We will see you again on December 14th. Be sure to register, of course, through the events calendar.
Is that open already?
That is open already. Yes.
I'll be signing up for that one.
Please register.
Great.
Thank you to Karen's team. We really appreciate your videotaping and all of the assistance that everyone in your shop had to put together to make these kits so successful for all of us.
Well, thank you. All right. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Karen.
You as well.
Bye.